Today on Health Matters, a look at carbohydrates, something many diets these days recommend we avoid, but they're not all created equal. There are good carbs and bad carbs, and now there is evidence the bad carbs may actually trigger food addictions. Our health specialist, Dr. Ali Zetner, joins me now. Ali, we all know that feeling of craving carbohydrates, but what did this study find?
This study showed that there's actually scientific evidence behind a food craving. So it took a group of men, and they were acting as their own controls. First, it fed them a low glycemic index, so a low sugar milkshake, so to speak.
Which is low carb.
Which is low carb. And it looked at their blood sugar levels after ingestion. It looked at their insulin levels after ingestion. It looked at their hunger cravings. And then it also did functional MRIs on their brain to look at blood flow to certain areas of the brain. It then fed them a high carb milkshake, so to speak, that tasted almost identical and examined the exact same thing. So each man was his own comparison.
And what did it find that it triggered in the brain?
So it found that not only did it cause this huge spike in blood sugar levels after ingestion of a high carb meal, it found a dramatic drop in blood sugar levels, a threefold increase in hunger levels, and a 10% increase to a center of the brain known as the nucleus accumbens, which is dramatically linked to sort of what we call the addiction center of the brain.
Wow, that's amazing. So it's sugar crash and then a desire for more.
Right. So what we're seeing is that we used to think hunger was delegated based on how much your body needed. So an empty full tank on a gas tank. What we're now seeing is that hunger is very much linked to as well what's called a hedonic system. So a system that is involved in cravings and the pleasure center of our brain. And that certain foods may actually not only satisfy that center, but also trigger it to want more.
Wow. And just to be clear, we're talking about refined carbs in this scenario, right? What is the difference between refined and unrefined, good and bad?
I want people to think of refined carbs as useless sugars. So things like vegetables and fruits are indeed carbohydrates, but they are absolutely unrefined carbohydrates. Things like breads and pastas and anything that comes in a package, you know, high sugar products with very low amounts of fiber are definitely a refined carbohydrate with sort of what we call a high glycemic index.
So are you telling people now to avoid those?
I'm telling people to watch for them. I think there's something that should absolutely be monitored and should be consumed in moderation. And I think it's a call for a re-examination of what Canadians should be eating.
All right. Dr. Ali Zetner, thanks.
Thanks.